Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Fanara, and you're watching EarthX. I am here with Wes Hansen, the Explorers Club Texas Chapter Chair, among so many other things. So thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Plus, I get to come up and experience EarthX, which is just an amazing event that I hope everybody gets to see at some point.
It really is, right? It brings
Oh, yeah.
together all walks of life that just want to make the world a better place, and it really allows for collaboration and integration with different technologies. It's my favorite week of the year.
It's pretty amazing, I gotta say.
All right, so it's an honor to have you here. I've heard such great things about you. You have such a holistic career, social worker, explorer, adventurer. So how did this all get started?
Well, I started a little bit later in life than a lot of explorers. I didn't even consider my first expedition until I was 50 years old. And in fact, I'd never left the continental United States until I was 48 when I went on a raft race in Peru. And at that point, I fell in love with the Amazon River. 2 years later, I got a National Geographic grant, became a National Geographic explorer at the age of 50, and led the first expedition to paddle the entire Amazon River from source to sea.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, the whole thing is so inspiring. I'm like tearing up right now because so many people think that they don't have time. And to know that you started exploring at 50 years old and you got a Nat Geo exploration grant.
Right.
Like that's huge. That will inspire so many people, just that alone. Not to mention what you did next. You paddled the Amazon?
Right. We had a large international team that we put together, and we paddled the entire 4,200 miles of the Amazon from a newly discovered most distant source. And then 2 years after that, I led an expedition to kayak the entire Volga River in Russia, which is Europe's longest river. That one was only 2,200 miles long. So, we're getting, after the Amazon, which is the world's longest, every other river is shorter.
Yeah, that's how I do, in school was do homework or at home, do chores. Like you do the hardest thing first and everything else seems like cake.
Well, and that's what led to our most recent expedition. I like to either kayak or canoe water routes that have never been accomplished. And so we ended up in the Northwest Passage.
Wow. So you're the guy and your team.
Well, we had a team. We had a very good team of 4 people in 2 kayaks. We departed Baffin Bay up in the Canadian waters, and we kayaked 1,600 miles through the Northwest Passage and ended up in the Beaufort Sea.
So how long, okay, let's start with the Amazon. How long did that take?
111 days.
You were kayaking for 111 days.
Yeah.
What did you see? What did you discover? Like, what was the most impactful moment?
Well, how long do you have? I mean,
We don't have that much.
No, we don't. Well, we produced a documentary called Peeled Faces on the Amazon,
Okay.
which you can find on YouTube. It's open to the public at this point. But the people of the Andes were amazing. The Quechua people that are from there. So for the first several hundred miles, we were in the Andes. And then after that, we were in the cloud forest, then the rainforest, and then we were just in the jungle for the last roughly 3,000 miles. And so every day was something exciting. I mean, we never lacked for people or dolphins, river dolphins, pink and blue river dolphins.
Wow.
Or just how people live on the Amazon. So.
Yeah. I mean, some of that kind of sounded like the different levels of Super Mario Brothers 3. Like that's how far off that is for me. Like I want to go to the Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, next place, Russia. What was the most memorable thing about the Russian environment?
That was a little more urban. We ran into cities along the way as opposed to the Amazon when you're out in the middle of nowhere for the most part. And we would come upon these beautiful historic cities. And we were so welcome by the Russian people. We had trouble leaving. They wouldn't let us leave their homes until we ate all of their food and drank all of their whiskey. And then we were allowed to leave. But they were so hospitable. As soon as they learned that we were from the United States, we were welcome. We were taken care of. Russia's just full of amazing people, and the waterway is historic. And we learned so much about the past 100 years while we were there, and they were able to learn a lot about the United States. So it was a very diplomatic trip.
That's amazing. You know, I was going to ask you about vegetation and water quality, but it sounds like the things that really affected you most in these 2 trips were the people.
Exactly. And you know, people around the world are generally good. And you find that out when you're out in the middle of nowhere, especially if you're in need, if you're in trouble or there's some kind of danger. I've always found wherever I go in the world, there are good people willing to help you out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's very hopeful. But the Northwest Passage.
The Northwest
How many people
Passage.
did you see during that trip?
We didn't see a whole lot of people. In fact, I think throughout the entire 1,600 miles, we saw 4 people. 4 people. And then we had at a halfway point at Cambridge Bay, which is a large town. That was our resupply. We saw a lot of people there, but then we didn't see anybody for the last 800 miles. I mean, nobody. Not a person, not a fishing boat, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fact that you were able to kayak the entire Northwest Passage today, what does that mean about the environment?
Well, I think it's a real indicator of the change on a global level that the climate is going through. The temperatures actually in southern Canada are colder now than they are in the Northwest Passage, which is, you know, a couple of thousand miles north of there. The sea ice, which used to be prevalent year-round, and the sea would actually freeze, that's no longer the case. It only freezes for a few weeks at a time now. So the water is warmer, the air temperatures are warmer, so this whole area has warmed up. I mean, it's not just changed, but it's definitely warmer. Our friends up there in the Inuit community are reporting changes on a yearly basis, drastic changes. They now have mosquitoes where they've never had mosquitoes before. They've got methane coming up from the ground from fossils because the permafrost is now thawing. They have this methane smell here and there. So there are not gradual changes going on in the Northwest Passage, primarily because the whole area is now warm.
It's so crazy to think because we see those changes so slowly down here, but at the poles, they're seeing them a lot more rapidly.
That's a good point, and we are very close to the North Pole up there. Hence, we were able to kayak through when previous expeditions weren't able to do that, primarily because it wasn't any of our special abilities. I mean, I have experience in ultra-distance kayaking, but the fact is the waterways were open and free of ice.
Wow. So there's so many opportunities just to be optimistic. You know, there's a lot of things to be worried about. There's a lot of things to safeguard, but there's a lot of opportunities for up-and-coming scientists to research, to get on top of, to create new solutions for, and to explore.
Well, exactly, and this is a good place for scientists and commercial interests to work together. And I think that's what EarthX kind of provides an opportunity for. This is the forum here for scientists to talk with commercial interests and come up with solutions that are viable.
Where can we see more information, maybe follow your journey? I want to learn all about, I want to read everything you've put out, see everything you've put out.
Well, you can go to westhansen.com, and there are details and pictures from our most recent expedition in 2023. There's a series being produced in Canada right now about it, so hopefully that'll be out next year. And I'm busy writing a book, but just look at westhansen.com, and you'll get an update on how things are going.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. This has been an honor for me.
Thank you, Tracy. It's been a thrill.